A new Fox Searchlight Pictures film has hit Hulu or Disney Plus, depending on where you're living. This week has hit the streaming service this past weekend, and it's time to talk about it. The movie is called Flamin' Hot, a film that is based off of what one claims to be a true story, but after a lot of research, it is not actually a biopic based on the actual invention of the subject matter, which is the Flamin' Hot Dorito flavor. Flamin' Hot Cheeto flavor. Those two words are too similar in my mind. But is based off of the events of one person who helped market it. I'm still confused on what exactly the true story is, as I know a good chunk of the film is fiction. But let's get into it. The story is about Richard Montañez and his goal to create a chip that will reminisce with the Hispanic community and a new target demographic for Frito-Lay with a brand of spicy chip. Apparently in real life that wasn't the case, but in the movie that's the case. And so he, much like in Tetris and in Air, risks it all to try to get this fancy chip so he can save his job. It's a pretty interesting story. It's very feel-good. It's just not as good as the two others that are pretty much the same. Film about similar subjects this past year alone. But it's an interesting film nonetheless. It's a very heartwarming story at times, although I do think it's a little too slow to start. It feels just off with how they start the film, and it feels a little too dragged out. I feel like it could have been montaged a little faster. But the story, it's a Hot Pocket score, mostly because, like I said, this is the third film I have seen this year alone with this same, guy has an idea, and the people around him don't think that's a great idea, so he does it himself anyways. It was the same plot in Tetris, it was the same plot in Air, only those two were better. Both Air and Tetris being equals in my opinion. Tetris mostly due to the fact that it has a slightly better soundtrack than Air, and Air just being a slightly better overall story. Cinematically, this is okay. There's not much going on. There wasn't. I was hoping for a little more music. I don't recall a lot of music in there, in good scenes. I watched it on Hulu because I am in the United States, and so I don't have Hulu with no ads. So randomly during an emotional scene, I just get this super upbeat ad, and it kind of ruined the flow. And so I just thought that was funny to share. So what I'm trying to say is, if you can watch this with no ads, I recommend it. Cinematically, there's just nothing too grand and spectacular, nothing explosive really, but it's enjoyable for what it is. So another Hot Pocket score there. Acting and directing. Let's talk about them. Directing, first-time director Eva Longoria, I think did a fairly good job with this film. Again, a little bit on the poor pacing side, but again, I never know if that's the director's fault or the script's fault for lingering on certain subjects for too long. But it's all right. But it's not explosive. It's not as amazing of a first-time directing as, for example, Michael B. Jordan did with Creed 3 this year. A lot of first-time directors this year. A lot of actors going into directing this year too. Michael B. Jordan, Charlie Day, and Eva Longoria, and there's probably others that I may have missed in keeping track of all of them because there's too many. But it's solid directing. I'd put it on par with Charlie Day's debut. I do find Fool's Paradise to be a slightly more enjoyable and fun movie than this, but that's just because Fool's Paradise is just a bunch of wacky fun instead of a sort of biopic. So I'm gonna have to give it another Hot Pocket score here. The acting was actually really solid. I enjoyed the acting. and it was good. I'll say it was explosive enough, although it did just randomly hit me. Like, as I was watching, I just look at the screen, I go, Tony Shalhoub? Monk? And that was just pretty funny. Every person was very good in their roles. Hand grenade score there. Now my expectations and experience, I don't know what I was expecting, because I was sort of expecting that biopic story when I first heard about it, and then I heard that the story wasn't really real, so then I'm like, I don't know what to expect anymore. But I was entertained, to say the least. It's pretty solid. I recommend it as a watch if you're on Hulu and you don't really know what to watch. It's solid. But in terms of Hulu originals, it's not the best one I've seen. But to be fair, when you have Palm Springs on your catalog of originals, I don't think much can be better. But other than that, I think that's a Hot Pocket score for that. This movie is a certified Hot Pocket film. Enjoyable every once in a while. But, like I said, there's probably some better options. Unfortunately, this movie just wasn't hot enough, and it was pretty mild. Yes, I wanted to make that joke, and I almost forgot to make it. Okay. Other than that, leave a like, comment down below if you've seen it, and I'll leave you guys to it.